Warning: this story contains heavy themes of blood, gore, suicide, sexual assault, self-harm, and yandere themes. This story also contains spoiler for manga and anime. Listener's discretion is advised. Unstoppable. Zenitsu stood behind his fellow demon slayers, watching as the previous Phoenix Pillar stood alongside the Demon King. His eyes widened a bit as he caught a glimpse of her face. Is this what the Phoenix Pillar looks like? She held a wide smile on her face, the happiness completely off-putting in regards of the current situation at hand. Gazing at her face, something inside him made him feel like he should protect her. But then, the pink eyes of a certain demon flashed across his head. Nezuko is prettier. With this thought overcoming all the other feelings, his hand tightened on his katana. Former pillar or not, anyone on Muzan's side must be dealt with. Several hours have passed since the fight began. Many young slayers perished, foolishly sacrificing themselves as an attempt to help the weaken the Demon King. Though weakened themselves, the pillars remained along with the helpful of strong demon slayers. However, both sides are dwelling in strength. Muzan could feel the effects of the aging poison taking effect. His power were decreasing quickly. The Demon King's pale red eyes scanned over the slayers that remained standing. Feeling the Phoenix Demon press herself onto his back, his only thought was to protect her to the end. With his powers weakening, the several strong pillars still standing, Muzan felt a sense of urgency. Taking a deep breath, the Demon King's panicked red eyes fluttered shut. When he opened them again, they were absolute and determined. All of a sudden, several large appendages appeared from his body. Those appendages dug deeply into the dirt, acting as a barrier between the two demons and the demon slayers. Once the barrier was set, he turned to the Phoenix Demon, gazing down at her. He caressed the soft skin of her face. He took every one of her perfect features before glancing up at the perfect sky, noticing the sun was beginning to rise. The finger trailing down her face suddenly sharpened into a claw, and he jammed his finger into her forehead. Yin shrieked in pain as she felt his burning blood pumping into her head and spreading through her body. The demon slayers screamed with worry, slamming and slicing their katanas into the barrier in order to reach the two demons. With the last bit of his power, he transformed his consciousness and blood to yin. As his body disintegrated, a barrier drifted to the floor in a pile of ash. In excruciating pain, Yin collapsed to the ground. The demon Phoenix felt as if she was being burned by her own intense flames, as each of her cells merged with all the demon progenitor's blood. All of the demon slayers rushed towards her, hearts filled with worry. A crowd stood above the immortal demon, watching carefully for any movement at all. Shinobu slowly pulled out a vial from her uniform. She pops the top off of the needle and quickly stabs down at the Phoenix Demon's immobile body. Just as her hands was inches away from her body, Yin's eyes shot open, revealing two plum red ones. Faster than they could ever comprehend, a large bone-like appendage shot out from her back, knocking everyone away. Dust sprung up where the slayers landed. As Yin emerged from the clouds of dust, she could feel Muzan's intense power surge through her, fueling her body by leaps and bounds. Consume Tanjiro Kamado. Muzan's voice ran through her head. The deep voice of the previous Demon King startled the Phoenix Demon. Consume Tanjiro Kamado. The sun is rising. Not understanding who he was talking about, she felt frustrated. Suddenly, the image of a man wearing a checkered hori and Hanafu earrings flashed across her mind. Her bright red eyes scanned the crowd of the slayers before locking on the face of a certain slayer. His dark red eyes were wide open, filled with worry and fear. "We need to cure her before the sun rises, or she'll die," the insect pillar shouted. Each time she attempted to get closer to Tanjiro, a different slayer would get her away. Like darts, different needles filled with the cure were thrown at her, but the appendages from her body were too fast, deflecting them before they could even get close to piercing her skin. Some had even tried sneaking up on her, but they were no match for her reflections, as she quickly sent them flying. As the last bunch of the cure shattered on the ground, the remaining slayers felt their hopes shatter along with them. She finally made it to the demon slayer with the Hanafu earrings. He had his sword down, eyes full of anticipation. Tanjiro didn't bother to fight against her. Yin briefly studied the demon slayer's face, and the sincerity shook her. "That's right. Eat him." She gripped at his arm, mouth opening to bite down on him, when she felt burning on her back. She could feel her skin beginning to sizzle, the pain unbearable. "It's too late. The sun is up." The burning disappeared when a sudden shadow appeared above her. She turned her head above to see dozens of slayers standing above her, acting as an umbrella to protect her from the sun's rays. She felt something move inside her. Why were they going this far for a demon like me? "What are you doing? Eat him!" Despite Muzan's voice in her head, she didn't take a move to eat him. Instead, with the last of her strength, she escaped from the shadows to a nearby alley, away from the sun and the demon slayers. Yin stayed hidden in the dark, thinking over the events that happened as she laid down. Countless images began to flash in her head. She clenched at her head, trying to get rid of the painful aches as she began to remember every detail from her past. It was completely silent. For the first time in a while, the Phoenix demon cried. Tears began to stream down her face as she possessed every memory. All of the emotions from the life she had forgotten came filling in. Tragedy after tragedy made its way back into her mind, from her mother to the curse of all those affected by it. One hand dug into the dirt, while the other clenched her throat as she tried painfully for herself, for the lives she ruined before her own blood. Even as Muzan tried speaking, his voice went unheard from the sobs racking her body. In an old, isolated mountain cottage, an old woman sat peacefully drinking tea. The moon had risen, offering a soft glow on the small home. Just as she set the small teacup down, she suddenly felt unease. Her keen senses alerted her of a powerful demon slowly approaching her home. After quickly locating her katana, the woman readied her stance as the figure approached the door. All was silent as she heard a soft footsteps shuffle closer to the entrance. She waited with bated breath as the door slowly opened. The woman's grip on the katana faltered as she laid eyes on the figure in front of her. Sad, eye-colored eyes greeted the aged woman. With a small smile, the demon spoke. "I'm home, Kayako-san." Holy moly, it's been so long since I've read this story. I might have to completely reread it because I really don't know what the heck is going on. But if you're a little, curious, if you didn't know, it's been quite a long time. I think about a couple months. No, it's not been a couple months. It's been a while. But this story is basically the curse that was given to all females in your family, that if a man or, sometimes women were to look at you, they would be, in love with you so much that they would kill the entire world for you. And so that's how we got here, but I don't know how to explain it anymore because I haven't read it in a while. But I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the author had been having some trouble with stuff, personal stuff, so that's why this chapter hasn't come out in a while. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm not going to just, hey, loop-de-loop, give you a week to not have this, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. This should be posted at regular time, so hopefully, I don't know. But anyways, I love you all so much. Bye. Mwah.